if it's stable. Please also make sure that your team leaders and your team members, everyone has joined. We have received a large number of responses from all of you, as it is evident from the questions and queries that came in the Google form that we circulated today morning. We have with us today an IBM expert. We will be shortly starting with the session. Today, it will be a different kind of a session. So please join on. Yes, we have a lot of participants already. We'll be waiting for a few more. Thank you for your patience. Okay, just an important announcement before we start with today's masterclass. So I believe a lot of the participants, they are facing challenges in uploading their certificates on the dashboard. Uh, there is an important announcement, from the entire management team. I'll quickly share. So we have extended the deadline. So today you were supposed to submit the second deliverable, that is fundamentals, AI fundamentals, right? The batch course that you are completing on the IBM Skillsbuild platform. So we have extended the deadline. So you can submit it on June 30th and not today. My colleague Manpreet will be sharing all the details in the chat box. Please make sure you have a look at it. I will also quickly reiterate the same. Take a note of the following things. If you're experiencing any issues logging into the dashboard, please try logging in at an interval of half an hour. Please understand that we have a lot of participants who are a part of this internship, pan India. We have received around 4,000 plus participants. So please make sure that you log in, at an half an hour interval. Sometimes the site might not work. Second, if you cannot find your name in the group, use the add user option. If it shows an error, please try again at an interval of half an hour. Okay, this is also a common query that many of the participants are facing. You are emailing, you're WhatsApping. So please, we want to make sure that we are on the yes. Lastly, please log in again in 24 hours and check the status of your certificates to ensure that it has been submitted. Okay, so I hope the instructions are pretty clear and simple. You have to submit your certificate on and by June 30th and not today. We have extended the deadline of your second deliverable, that is AI fundamentals. Secondly, if you're experiencing any issues with the dashboard, please log in after an interval of half an hour or 1 hour. If you cannot find your name in the group, use the add user option. Okay, if it still shows an error, please try again at an interval of half an hour. Log in again after 1 day to check the status of your certificates and ensure that you have submitted all your certificates and deliverables on time. Okay, this was the second deliverable. The last one, that's the project, that the team project that we have discussed. You need to submit that on 2nd of July. Okay, so the deadline for the final deliverable, that is the team project that you will be doing, it is on 2nd of July, end of the day. I hope the instructions are clear. My colleague will also put everything on the chat box. In case you are facing any difficulty, please feel free to text in the chat box, email us. Okay, so we'll start with today's session. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of the participants, for joining. Uh, this masterclass is a bit different from all the master classes that we have been doing so far, and we are glad to have all of you. It was a completely engaging participation from you, and we have got today with us an IBM expert, Mamta Venkatesh. So we are thankful to have you, Mamta, with us today. A quick introduction about Mamta. She has over 20 years of experience in the tech field. She has led strategic projects on artificial intelligence, data, machine learning, and the list just goes on. Without any further delay, I would ask Mamta to take over the platform, and please start with your session. Over to you, Mamta.
Thanks, Arundhati. So I should be able to share my screen. And thank you, folks, students, joining for this session. It's very heartening to see this huge number. I hope I'll keep you all busy with my the content. And thanks for all your questions upfront. I think it kind of gave me some time to kind of pull it everything so that some of my slides can be the answers for your questions, right? But still, we'll have a dedicated time to go over the questions as well. Uh, but with that, I am going to share my screen. Arundhati, maybe you can just give me a thumbs up if the screen is
Yes.
visible.
Yes, Mamta, it is.
Okay. Okay, folks. Good afternoon and good evening. I think it's already evening today. So all the weekend fun, but it's more fun when you actually get to learn more new things, right? Something that interests you, something that you're passionate about it. And I am very, very passionate about, how technology can kind of make a difference in all of our learnings and the studies, or the courses that you might be undergoing, and probably some of you might be already on the verge of getting into different professionals as well, right? So it cannot be a better phase for us to get to know the practical applications of these technologies, and not only in the organizations, but as a students, how you could actually think about those small little ideas that really can make an impact for the people, the process around you, and for the planet, right? End of the day, all the technologies that we can really focus is not only to just invent new ideas, something it has to be like a patentable or unique, or it should be a big idea. No, the answer is no, right? Most of us probably would fear that, hey, I may not have that big idea, but think of it like any small idea that you might have, but if it can really make a small impact, very, very small impact for your day-to-day life, regular process, that is something you all can actually think about it. With that as a background, what we are going to do is dwell a little deeper, especially on the technology side. And that's where I think I was discussing with Arundhati that, probably the questions are better answered when we actually visualize, right? Visualize and see some of them, some of them on the slide, some of them based on the work that has already been done. It'll be good for you to also register, right? But since a lot of you had asked me about little bit focus on AI and ML, maybe that has become a lot of your favorites of late from last probably a half a decade. But we are not just limiting innovation ideas, and our work does not just limit only with AI, right? AI and ML is not the only world. There are a lot of other technologies, be it like the programming skills that many of you might be already working on, like C, C++, Java, Python. That's something you would have already picked up in your colleges, and probably you would be going to work on your work environments, right? So some of you might be thinking that, hey, I am not probably a computer science engineer, right? But do not worry, right? That is where uh, being aware how these applications, how this technology is going to work, even for the non-technologists, right? When I say non-technologists, there can be many engineers who might be working in the industrial areas. There can be chemical engineers, they can become HRs, they can become the management folks, right, going forward, even with an engineering degree, right? Still, technology is going to help you guys. And even think about, a lot of your applications at the college itself, right? You might be having a lot of the college applications that you might be really be the end users in terms of the leave application systems, in terms of how you can have your learning portals in the college, right? Think of all these things as, those, I mean, you as an application users. And know how many of us probably are using so many apps on our mobiles, right? And we are already the end users, and we know what is that technology is really bringing at our fingertips, right? But since we have to evolve, we have to learn, unlearn, as we move forward, because there's a lot of technology changes happening. It's important whether we use it or not use it, but still to be aware what is the positive aspects and what is the advantages of it, when to use, what is the right time to use, and all of this, especially when everybody talks about AI, right? And using AI consciously is our responsibility. Okay. So, with that level setting, I would probably pause here and highlight that, okay, I'm going to talk about bit on, just for a lot of people's questions that had poured in. I must say poured in, right? I'm stressing that word, and I'm really, really happy that I could really get this. Thanks to Arundhati for sharing that. I had to quickly spend some time to rearrange my slides and make it, helpful for you, right? So that you guys have a good takeaway from this session. Promise me, it's probably going to keep you busy, winking across the slides. I have got a lot of slides, and but this is the flow I'm going to cover my slides. You can keep your questions on the chat going on. That will not be stopped, but only small request is probably I will be able to take up questions once I kind of complete my slides, so that all the participants here can probably take the best advantage of the time. If that's okay, Arundhati, with that plan.
Yes, of course, Mamta.
Okay. So since we have been talking about AI, ML, Gen AI as a evolving technologies, I also want to bring people who are tech savvy to also think about what is the architecture pattern behind it. Because I am a techie, and I would definitely want you people also to wear some technology hat, so that when you go back home, you know that, okay, whatever the applications you got, okay, how would probably this would work, right? So some bit of reading from your end will make a lot of things clear. And there's a lot of material today that you can actually go over, and I'll also share a lot of references in the end that you can refer and learn from yourselves. And we'll also talk about how to use AI consciously, especially in the sustainability areas, right? Because here we are talking about tech for good. Then good means how good it can be, right? As I mentioned, it should be something that it has to be effective for the people, process, and planet, right? And how you can use your use cases to build much more smarter cities around you, but much more in a sustainable manner, right? How can you contribute to the climate action? And I'm talking about what's the next, because we from IBM, we are promoting the AI platform called what's the next. And what's the next AI is specifically for to manage your complete the AI life cycle, right? For you to tune, build, model it, and use it. And we'll give some quick videos, so that you will get to know how these use cases were implemented, and that'll be more fun to watch as well. Okay, so with that flow, this chart is actually going to make you much more clear on the journey, right? Because a lot of people would have probably the confusion, or like thinking about, isn't AI same as today what we are talking about Gen AI, or what is the, how how the Gen AI has evolved, right? So this is like a Venn diagram you can think about, and at the core is what today Gen AI is sitting right here in the dark blue shade. And artificial intelligence, the AI, is something that you're completely overarching and covering it entirely. And machine learnings are those where you are applying your machine learning patterns, algorithms, to much more automate your the data sets, automate a lot of use cases with insights, predictions, and so on. Deep learning, it comes when you are actually dealing with the neural networks, and you are actually working with a lot of data, more big data in terms of image, speeches, more of social media aspects, where you would have thought about facial tagging, image recognition, right? All of those use cases, you can think that deep learning has been playing a major role. When it comes to foundational models, what foundational model has given is, it has actually given us a free canvas for us. Like, you feed in any kind of huge language text, right? And even you can convert your music data or speech specific data that you get it from your, the caller applications. All the data can be converted from speech to text, and that text can be fed to fine tune our foundational models. And we can actually get a lot of insights, and today we'll see how these foundational models are actually helping us, right? So this is something like an era you can think about, right? Earlier, probably 3 decades back, when I was in school, probably, right? At that time, barely we were using something like, computers, especially in our school times. Computer labs used to be like one temple. We had to typically, we were only going to the computer labs just to play the Pac-Man games, okay? Yeah, and probably how to design a Microsoft Word was a big thing, right? And but you know looking back 3 decades, it's a big milestone. And yes, in my computer science engineering, when I was doing, we did had some of the artificial intelligence, just one subject in my fifth sem, probably, if I believe. It used to be finite automata and formal language. I don't know how many of you probably have that. It's called FAFL in short. I was very fascinated. Nothing at that time had any practical applications for us to probably, look into it. But as we've evolved, that has evolved into a science, or a technology of artificial intelligence, where we started building the rule-based engines, right? Pretty much it was more like, applying your if-else statements and so on, right? It was based on the facts, a lot of facts, and a lot of simple logic statements we applied to build the intelligent systems. Okay, but as we evolved, we started seeing the various data we could leverage around us. Then we started using a lot of the big data to come up with a prescriptive and descriptive analysis, and then we started applying machine learning models. So we started doing a lot of feature engineering around that, so that we could probably build much more machine learning models with various algorithms, and come up with various predictions. Then we evolved for deep learning, as I mentioned. As more and more computation power was required, more and more label data we were collecting, and classifying it, and then coming up with more interesting use cases. Then evolved from last 4 5 years. I think we are every organization, every educational streams today, they're investing hugely on Gen AI. Why we call Gen AI, or that is because it generates, as the name itself generates, new sentences for you, new text for you, depending upon how you train it. The more variety of the data that you train, it can actually give you the better answers, right? I think all of us, probably one day or the other day, you would have trained for a lot of your aspects on Chat GPT, right? But that's on more on the open AI. When we talk about Watson X, we actually talk about the enterprise data. I'll come to the Watson X piece, but let me complete what was probably on the the traditional applications, right? AI, just the AI. I'm not talking about Gen AI. So the typical use cases that you would have probably seen a decade back or probably 5 years back, we had all of these chatbots floating around, and lot of applications like e-commerce sites and in the phone based applications. Everything was like automated voice agents you had, right? All those was agent, all that was more of the AI in the play. And we had recommendation engines for every websites, for every applications. We had come up with a recommendation. If ABC is the question, then what would the computer recommend to you, right? That's again based on the set of rules, set of grammar that we would have structured as a dialogue play. Okay. So these were all the traditional applications. And as we evolved, we now have a lot of use cases more around these aspects, more of conversational AI, natural language processing, and more on LLMs, right? That's how we have kind of evolved as we move forward. And then the kind of use cases typically you see is spread across these areas today, the Gen AI, right? So no matter we have heard about all the conversational agents today, but this same conversational agents are much more now in the more high-end version, which has evolved with the Gen AI capability in terms of more powerful responses you get from the Gen AI, more creative responses, more structured responses you will get from the Gen AI based chatbots. And especially on the summarization, think about, you feed the entire books of information right into the LLMs, and then you ask it to summarize probably by just one page summary for you, right? Overall, it'll do it in just like few seconds or few minutes, right? For you, that's the automation that we have been looking at. How massively the data can be read and it can be able to put it to the use for the users to get the data summarized. Then we talk about content generation, new content you can generate, and you can actually build much more powerful recommendation systems. And you can think about how you can actually extract the commentary kind of data, right? Or probably you want to classify more of the data sets in terms of based on the data categorization. You want to categorize and classify certain users or certain employers. So the Gen AI comes very very handy for you. And similarly, I think in the medical field also, you probably see a lot of useful use cases today. It's going on, right? So what I wanted to high level say is that is something, those are the high level use cases, very very high level use cases. And across industries today we are making use of the LLMs. In short, all the Gen AI is actually powered by the large language models. That's why I call it as LLMs, okay, in short. And here you can see how foundational models are actually spread across various industries, right? And these are all the specific use cases, in terms of the industries today, how they are managing it. They are managing the physical assets. The physical assets can be the vehicles, the machineries. Today in the industry world, we call it as assets, okay? And financial sector is using, the lawyers are using, the medical field folks are using. And everything today, it is more of combination of technologies comes into play, right? Maybe at a high level you might be thinking that okay, it's all Gen AI, right? So it's a misconception. So basically, for Gen AI used to play, you need to actually help it with the data, right? Where do you get the data? Yes, data resides somewhere, right? On the edge, on the different databases it exists, and on the social media it exists. So there are variety of the data coming, and the velocity of the data that is flowing in is humongous, right? So we have a lot of sensor IoT sensors based data collection happens, and that needs to be streamlined as events. So there's a lot of technology is role play here much before you will use it for your training purposes or tuning the foundational models. So that is something you have to think about. So think about, everything is data driven, and all we are doing is basically to get the automation so that you can optimize your processes, okay? So that everything is on the more advantage side. You're saving time, you're saving cost, and probably, if I won't be wrong if I say we also are making use much more, efficient use of our times by, making use of these technologies. So with that, I'm again stressing that the Gen AI is definitely not going to replace any of the jobs or something like that, but it is actually giving us a chance. It is opening up many doors in terms of the careers also, where people can invest and where people can unlearn some things, probably what we have to leave it as a baggage and come on board with the new technologies and new learnings, right? So that way, you're much more actually running fast pace so that you can better innovate. So these are all some of the, high level use cases today. Most of the organizations are kind of using, be it in the HR field or be it in the customer assistance across industries. Okay. These are all like categories of the use cases that many companies are using it, right? This is like talent acquisitions, performance management. So this is all this HR things happens in every organizations. It's not just limited to IT organization only. And sometimes the HRs are also present in the colleges also, right? So the same use cases can be applicable even for the colleges also. The same kind of applications will be today implemented by various companies for the educational institutions, so that your teachers and some of the students also probably can be part to give the feedback, right? All that is happening today. So coming back in the IT automation, right? IT automation is more of, how do you kind of make, the effective use of the resources. When I say resources, this is more of how do you optimally use the data centers? How do you optimally use the consumption of these VMs, servers? So all that is very important for every organizations, because everything is today, a lot of things is on cloud, right? We have a lot of SaaS based solutions, means everything is running on, workloads are all running on the cloud today, unlike everything was data center and it was all hosted on particular on premises, right? So a lot of automation has happened, a lot of um, the efficiency in optimizing has become the priority, especially when we talk about IT automation. So that's where the insights that you get from these LLMs will be very helpful for some of the practical aspects of optimizing the resources. So this is the platform I was talking about, what IBM offers today, What's the Next, and it gives you the three flavors of it, where we were highlighting more on What's the Next AI, because it helps you to kind of train, validate, tune, and deploy your AI models. And What's the Next data is basically for you to ensure data from anywhere can be pulled into the IBM's databases, so that you can work on that data for your models, because models need data, right, for you to prompt tune, fine tune, and then train it, right? And then governance, because governance is very important, because that is what it differentiates how people can trust the responses from the AI, ML, and the data, and how transparent it can be, that how it can tell that how did it arrive at that response, right? Because a lot of enterprises probably 10 years back, though it all started like a innovation projects, now today most of the organizations have kind of been taking advantage of the AI, and they trust the AI, right? To actually build the trust, the transparency is very, very important. Just like in our relationship, maybe at home with friends, between the teachers, like how trust is very important. How do you build the trust? How the trust comes? You need to be open, you need to be transparent, right? So the same thing applies for even in the AI field. And you should not have a lot of biases. You should not have a lot of and I mean, you should basically avoid hallucinations as well, right? So that um, the models perform fairly. So typically, this is the architecture. Okay, whenever somebody the students who are participating in the call for code, they, how today LLMs are working is typically based on this architecture. I've like put it like a very simple format for whoever are more tech savvy. They will get to know that typically we call it as RAG architecture. This is more of a retrieval augmentation source generation, like, retrieval augmented generation, we call it as. And here, the way, any question that you ask, it enters where you either enter it through a chat or you enter it to any user interface or through a form or through mobile. Any way you enter a query, basically it actually goes to an embedder. So this is again a script or something where you will use it, the user query, to kind of search against all the trained data sources, right? So here I'm showing data sets as one, but this data sources can come from multiple data sources. It can come from internet, it can come from enterprise data sources, it can come from Excel sheets, image documents, everything, right? Then you can make use of any technology, any component, and then use a algorithm to actually search the matching snippets for your questions for a given format of response. And this is where we kind of introduce and talk about the prompts. Okay, prompt prompt engineering, prompt tuning is something where we kind of give that, apply the format for my response, right? I as a technician, I will say that, hey, you know what, for my question, this is the way I'm expecting you to answer for me. Okay, so you are going to format, give me a one para of answer in, probably by summarizing it with, the quantitative and qualitative responses, right? So you kind of give that prompts. Okay, prompts is something like, you structure it, you format it so that the LLMs take that as one of the input while it searches the response from its various data sources, and it will structure it, it will make it more creative, and it will output, right? The large language model will give you the response back. This number 8 will actually give you to the response, the creative responses, what typically you people have seen on the chat GPT as well, right? So this is how typically many organizations are following this RAG architecture. You guys can search RAG, you'll get hundreds of articles. Okay, and this is one, architecture I just wanted to represent. Don't go by the complexity, but you will see how today organizations are embedding this RAG architecture in terms of, using in their applications, right? You think like this as an web application or a chatbot or whatever, and the user inputting the question, and then we hit a search. So it goes through. So we are making use of Watson Discovery. It goes and searches multiple documents. Okay, whatever I'm showing is the multiple documents. Then it actually comes back to the LLM with for generating the new content, new responses based on the prompts, and it will summarize the answer back to you, right? So basically, all those responses, you will get multiple responses from multiple data sources. Okay, because here I'm showing the art of possibility of multiple data sources. LLM has got the ability to summarize it for you, right? Put it in a new, when you say generate it for you, it will completely generate a new thing. If you say summarize, then it will summarize it for you. If you want to just put it in a just Q&A format, then it will give you in a Q&A format, right? And even new images also you can actually generate if it is a image based question and response that you are expecting. So typically this is how we kind of embed today in our organizations for any applications. Okay, so again, one more, way today, lot of, organizations are using is for, these are all like various data sources. Okay, this might look little complicated for you, but think about the sensor data, right? That data can come from IoT devices, and many of the applications will also have a lot of logs. Okay, error logs, event logs, and many of the applications will have the help manuals, all that. So think about all of this as like a data sources, right? You might have asked, many people have asked, hey, how do I get started, building LLMs, right? How do I start building AI applications? What should be my starting point? How I should think about, right? So you need to start about the problem statement. You need to think about what is the data requirement, and you need to understand, okay, in which area this problem I'm trying to solve, whether it is in a domain like agriculture, or it is in the education stream or chemical stream, banking. You need to kind of have that knowledge also, so that you will be able to appropriately think about what are all the users for that application, what kind of data has to be involved, and how you can actually work with the various solutions to develop something like this, right? So here, it is a small, probably a chatbot kind of applications to pull the quick insights. When I use something like insights, it's very, very, very critical information that the end users are looking forward. That's why we call it as insights, right? Insights can be like your small cheat sheets or small tips that your teachers might be giving. That's for sure they will say that this information is going to be very helpful for you, right, for your tests, for your exams, or so something like that. We also help our end users by giving this kind of insights, tips. Okay, hope you guys are able to relate by that. And moving slowly, right? So we are thinking about, yes, I talked about a lot of AI and all, but today, like AI, sustainability is a boom. And I'm cloud is one thing. Cloud is more of infrastructure, right? We have a lot of cloud service providers like IBM Cloud, Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud, Azure Cloud, Microsoft, right? All those cloud service providers are there. But when we talk about technologies like sustainability is something is not new, right? But we have to be more sustainable in whatever we have been doing. And we have been doing this, technology has existing, right? But it's just that it has got a lot more highlight, probably I can say after COVID. Okay. Why after COVID? Because we started digitizing so much everything, right? And I think every one of us here, probably you have undergone that period, and probably you have seen how transformations has happened in terms of our lifestyles, in terms of how we used to do the schooling, right? Everybody now knows how to live the life just remotely, right? I mean, without really even we going to school, how we could study, we go without going to the offices, how we could probably help each other, and even for the regular transactions on the groceries, or probably the online shopping. I mean, think about every possibility, right? The cashless transactions, everything has been made possible probably through technology, right? So today, I think our next generation, right, probably they will not even have the coins and the cash rupees in hand, right? Already we don't have money today in our purses, or at home, or hardly we go to even ATMs these days even to withdraw cashes, right? I'm sure many of you people will agree with me, right? So much of technology transformation happened, and today we are just kind of now, what is real? If I think the food we eat probably is very, very real, the clothes we wear is very, very real, right? But think about it, all these things, if it has to be real, it has to be good, it has to be safe, and it has to be more healthy, right? The clothes that you wear has to be healthy, the surroundings that you live has to be healthy, and the air that you breathe has to be healthy. So that is where the companies have started thinking about, right? And not only companies, maybe at home also, you as an individual, probably you will tell your siblings, or you will see, many of us consciously making that enforcement even at home, that hey, don't waste this, hey, switch off the light, turn off the water, right? And the same thing has actually become a big agenda at educational institutions, at companies, where we are taking all these small measures very, 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 very seriously. Even in our food, we are not supposed to waste the canteen. In the canteen, we are not supposed to waste the food because that gets recorded. Today, 10 kgs of food was wasted in the canteen. So that gets escalated in the companies today. How much of food wastage? So the more food that we waste, again we will only be penalized in terms of there will be the cost raises, the quality, everything is probably again a toss, right? So all these aspects are kind of taken very seriously. And here, why I'm staying on this slide for more time here, every organization now has to mandatorily have to show how they are sustainably contributing to the society in their organizations for the people, process, and for the nature or the planet, right? So you can see how we can together eliminate the poverty, how we can probably add more for good well-being, mental wellness, the health, the climate changes, gender equality, clean water, right? All these things, lot of use cases companies are actually working on it, uh, with along with the technology to help each other. When I say each other, every company has been working to help any other company, help the people, help the process. Okay. So with that, it makes us to think about the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions. Okay. Don't get too much carried with this slide. What only I wanted to kind of think, make you think is every aspect of it. Like, for example, think about the electricity that you are actually burning. When I say burning, today we are all users of electricity. My laptop is running on the battery or the power electricity, right? And you are all probably logged in today using your mobile devices. So a lot of power consumption is happening, right? And probably if you people are just have been in a classroom, then think about it, probably 100 of school students or college students using their individual laptops and the tablets and mobile phones. What if there was one computer screen, and probably it would have been everybody would have been in a room, and probably we would have further optimized, right? Think like that, right? Every aspect of it we should think in that sense, because we are going to save lot of carbon emissions coming out of this spend, right? Electricity, water wastage, the waste that is coming out of your food, it can be the material waste, everything, right? So that's where we are talking about scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions. And many organizations are working on that. Okay. So from now onwards, I'm going to talk about some applications that, it might be helpful for you to just think in a way that what could be the practical applications of AI, ML, Gen AI in the industry, right? So some of the use cases that we have seen in the past, especially for the retail industry or the e-commerce applications, we wanted to assist the retailers. It can be, you can think about the Amazon or Walmart or Reliance, our Indian Flipkarts, whatnot, right? Think about, or it can be a local store, right? Simple local retail store. So how a technology can help them? So basically today there are being like so many brands, right? Like Alan Solly, Van Heusen, Godrej, think about any kind of brands. And unless until you are offering attractive what customers are like, it's very hard for you to keep your customers engaged with them, right? Staying with one brand. So that means how technology can help those retailers, so that customers can stay much more bonded to you, means offer more discounts, or give them more quality, or give them competitive prices, what, right? Or probably choose what the age, probably how the children's would like your brand, how elderly people would like the brand, or probably youth, right? You categorize them and probably offer them, according to their choices. Probably, release more seasonal variety of clothing, so that it's much more handy, useful for them, right? So like that, people have to think about various synergies, strategies, and policy changeovers, and technology is there to help them. And each of these things you need to think about like a use case, right? What data needs to be there for me to solve this particular problem, so that this can be helpful for XYZ customers. This is how you have to think, like, how do you take a stab at thinking like an idea, right? And working on that idea. So some of the insights, again, I'm going back to the point, right? Here you can see who is your user, what was the challenge, how was the solution built, okay? And if this is a chatbot, okay, and if this is a chatbot, or if this is an insights application sitting on some e-commerce website, and we are calling it as expert assistant, and here you can see some insights, right? Some numbers. For the end user, probably it might think like, about what is this numbers, right? But so what I'm actually giving some insights is, when is the customer with this brand, right? Let's assume with this Van Hussein brand, the customer has been associated with 2017, long time customer, right? And how many times probably he has returned, right? The materials what he has purchased. What is his most frequency of more shopping, right? Like how often he shops. And what is the return risk? How many, why probably he would have, why probably this product you think it might be returned, right, after the purchase. So all that, it gives you like a predictions, right? All these insights are coming from the machine learning models, okay, the traditional. So this is how we started building all the, the AI based applications 5 6 years back. And the same now we are actually, companies are now investing more the responses to be more generated, summarized, creative, using Gen AI. Okay, so you need to see the shift in the way the technologies have been evolving and the applications are being revamped. Okay, and as I was mentioning today, a lot of mm, industries, consider their vehicles, their engines, everything like assets. Okay, we call it as assets. And today, many of these assets conditions are actually monitored sitting in a room. Okay, we have created something like digital twins, right? Using the palm tops, many engineers can solve, hey, in this engine, this is where there is a problem. So we are actually creating a digital twins, and that technology kind of, helping based on the machine learning insights, what it gives. Because through the sensors, you are getting continuous stream of the data, and we are able to apply that, and the digital twin is able to show, hey, this is where there is a clog in some machine part. That's why this machine has stopped. So please assign a man, or probably a technician immediately to service that, right? And then they will also, the technician will go do the, necessary work, and then probably he will say that, that machine that part has to be replaced, blah blah, all that. And even when you update that back quickly, the applications can even place the order for the new parts replacement. So that way the entire thing is today getting revamped and, completely automized via technology, right? So these are all like very, industrial based applications where you're using AI, IoT, sensors, data, everything. Technology is at great play. Okay. And now you think about environmental based applications, climate sound applications. So at IBM, we also have huge number of applications like IBM Environmental Intelligence, and today we are giving lot of satellite imaginary captures, and IBM has actually tied up with NASA, and NASA collects all these satellite images every 2 days once for the entire world. Okay, entire world has been watched by the satellites, and this data is being fed for all the IBM research models. So IBM research models has, capturing all these event specific data, where the forest fire has happened, where the tornado has happened, and all that. And now we are able to build many foundational models which based on the satellite captures. Okay, so these are all for the specific categories of flood detection, above ground mass, blah, fire capture, all that. Okay, and I'll tell you one interesting use case also, right? So think about, our houses. Next to our houses we'll have all our electric poles and all, right? I think many of us probably, see this electric poles. So you can see this high tension wires will probably, sometimes they'll be sagging like this due to the weather changes, or sometimes there might be a huge rainfall or a too much of wind, and plants, trees around it probably again cause a hinder, right? Hinder into this, causing harmful destruction for these assets. When I call assets, this is tower is an asset, this electric wire is an asset. So this can actually cause power outages, isn't it? So what we are doing, so the satellite imaginary can actually give information to our systems that, this tree is causing the hindrance. If we don't address this inform, then immediately there might be a power outage in this region. So you are actually taking precautionary measure there. So you will send technicians, or you will send the people to chop the tree so that it is hindering. Again, we are only ensuring that we'll only, ensure only that part of vegetation is trimmed. I'm not saying we'll cut the tree, right? We are actually trimming the branches so that, it is not harming the entire not harming the tree, but neither ensuring that, that the pole is also not affected because of that, right? Because otherwise it can again cause, high power voltage, and probably, the people around that also probably will be affected, right? So such kind of use cases are many around in our organizations. And so whatever use cases I'm talking, it's all from IBM. Okay, by the way, we have built for our end customers. And so this is again a use case for the retailers. Today when we shop, we are also eco-friendly, and we think that, we have to buy khadi only, we need to buy the material where the raw material is probably from India only, for example, right? Like all, or probably we might think that, hey, we should not be using a lot of dyed, too much of clothing which are very colorful, very zigzag, so that, it would, because the way you would have manufactured that probably would have been probably causing a lot of climatic impact, right? So that way, how do consumers can make a eco-friendly shopping, right? So that kind of insights is what probably it will help, for the consumers, end consumer, to make a decision that, can I buy this material? Is it trustable, right? How do I know that this is the material is biodegradable, right? There is less harm for the environment when they procured this material to manufacture it. So all that is kind of traced back, right? The technology can actually trace back and give the complete details. Just like how today the jam bottle you see, or the medicine bottle you see, you have the complete details in that labels, right? So that kind of information, the retailers will be responsible to publish, and which is going to helpful for the customers. And think about another use case where, the coffee, right? The coffee beans, for example, the coffee beans that you select today, they will be able to trace back from which location these coffee beans are kind of, supplied for the retailer. And by just clicking the QR code for this, right, you can also can make the contribution directly to the farmers who are probably cultivating that coffee beans. So that kind of technology evaluation also has happened, and we call it like as a farmer connect application, right? Means you are actually ensuring that, the farmer produce happens more authentically, and even the contribution for the farmers also goes via the end consumers directly, so that farmers are benefited to a great extent. So all these technologies are really, really, way forward, and we have been working on this. And also I wanted to show one more recent work that I was fortunate to be part of this from IBM, but we did it with the Nature Conservancy of India. And one of the problem that we actually solved using IBM environmental intelligence, the satellite data, we tried to give a solution for the farmers who were basically burning these paddy after they grow this wheat, right? They were actually burning these stubbles. Means after they cut the crop, they were simply burning it because they were not uprooting it and making it field ready for the next crop investment. So after harvesting, they were burning, and this used to be like acres of land, right, in Punjab and Haryana. And all these fumes, it will actually go ahead and clog in the cities like Delhi, right? That is where you see today Delhi has been polluted so much, right, because of these fogs. So what we did is we kind of started giving them the insightful, AI based application here. And also we work with this Nature Conservancy, where we started educating the farmers that they should be not burning such, the remains of the crop, but they need to be using these kind of tools and technologies where they can after harvest they can actually shred them, so that even the fertility of the soil is also maintained, and you're not actually polluting not only the air but even the soil fertility also will be burnt and lost, right? And this will also impact even the water levels in that area, like because of these issues, right? So many contributions were there. So I'll kind of share a video, right, how it helped the Indian farmers. Let me pause here so that that will take a break also, right? So I'm going to share a video. Arundhati, is the audio also heard when I play the video?
No, ma'am.
No, when I play, just let me know.
पराली जलाने से जो है
Now?
Yes, ma'am. It is audible. Yeah.
Okay. I'll play this from the beginning.
पराली जलाने से जो है वो दिल्ली की आबो हवा में भी जो है काफी फर्क पड़ा है।
नासा ने जो तस्वीरें जारी की है वो तो बहुत ही चिंता पैदा की।
ਪਰਾਲੀ ਜਲਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਕਈ ਕਾਰਨ ਆ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੀ ਘਾਟ ਕਾਰਨ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜਲਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਫਸਲ ਨੂੰ ਜਲਦੀ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਲਦੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਿਜਾਈ ਕਰਾਂ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਕੀ ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਪਰਾਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗ ਲਗਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਦੇ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਕੀੜੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਪਜਾਊ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਘਟਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਉਣ ਨਾਲ।
The Nature Conservancy India has been working in the agricultural sector, and with support from partners initiated a project called Harit. It actually is harnessing agricultural residue to power through technology. It has encouraged farmers to use technology to eliminate crop residue burning, and this has been in Punjab and in Haryana. This project of ours over the 3 years has reached out to almost 40,000 farmers over 100 villages, and in both Haryana and Punjab, to adopt low burn agricultural practices. TNC India and IBM are now partnering to use the learning from our project Harit and to scale up the impact of no burn agriculture both in Punjab and the state of Haryana.
The CRM Connect application is a web-based interactive hub that analyzes crop residue burning
and provides information on how to manage and help take initiatives to eliminate crop residue burning. IBM launched a Sustainability Accelerator program in 2021, and in year one, our focus area was to support projects related to agriculture. IBM was looking for partners aligned to the strategy, and we partnered with TNC India.
IBM Sustainability Accelerator is a pro bono social impact program that applies IBM technologies such as hybrid cloud and artificial intelligence and an ecosystem of experts to enhance and scale not-for-profit and government initiatives, helping populations specially exposed to environmental threats, including climate change, extreme weather, and pollution.
Crop residue burning is one of the issues that is grappling Northwest India. In addition to that, there are other serious issues like monocropping, overexploitation of groundwater, and excessive usage of agrochemicals under intensive agriculture production system. ਝੋਨੇ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਟਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕਣਕ ਬੀਜਣ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਾਸਲਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਲਦੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਅੱਗ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਰਾਲੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰਾਲੀ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਭ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮਸ਼ੀਨਰੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਮੌਕੇ ਤੇ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ। ਮਸ਼ੀਨਰੀ ਜੇਕਰ ਆਪਦੀ ਖੁਦ ਹੀ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਮਹਿੰਗੀ ਵੀ ਕੋਸਟਲੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ, ਤਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਹੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਮਜਬੂਰੀ ਵਸ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਜੀ। We'll make an outreach to almost 12,000 farmers and service providers directly, and indirectly almost 38,000 farmers and service providers through different social impact organizations and also the Nature Conservancy's regenerative agriculture projects in Punjab and Haryana. We have two parts within this technology. One is the portal, which is meant for farmers and service providers. So we'll make a direct outreach to these farmers through project supported teams. And also we'll organize different consultations, workshops, and other meetings to sensitize different stakeholders on crop residue management.
The need of the hour is to decarbonize the food systems and make farming more resilient for future vagaries of the weather and climate change. Regenerative agricultural practices is a solution and an answer as we move ahead.
Okay, I hope this video was relatable, and you were able to see how this technologies came for help in terms of helping the problem statement, especially for the farmers of Punjab, and not only helping the farmers to get the necessary equipments on time, but at the same time ensuring that the government agencies get the enough insights using the technologies. And at the end, you also know how we are actually contributing back to nature, right? In terms of the carbon emissions, the poisonous gases, whatnot, right? So the impact that you are making is multi-folded, right? So that is how you can probably think about, how you can actually help, the lot of the people, right? So because I stopped sharing and showing this video for this one use cases, and I wanted to show another use case.
Hello, everyone.
For the Watson X, right? How the GenAI actually works. So let me share my screen again and then play the video so that then I can come back to my slides and we can take up some questions. Share my screen and play this video. Okay.
Here's our team bringing out our X factor. We present to you how activating a 360-degree view of customer account to various enterprise users can unlock the world of possibilities. Staying targeted on our course.
Various functions such as sales, operations, and controllership. And why wait for months to resolve disputes, friction with pending orders, and complaints when Michelle can take the next action right now?
This view eliminates errors of translation, providing a single glass view across users that can directly impact improvement in DSO, resolution cycle time, and a happy customer. Thank you for watching. Hello, everyone.
So just I was sharing, all the simple use cases. So I'm going to share back my slide. Okay. So I hope you got a glimpse of how this was achieved and we were successful. So this project went on for 2-3 years along with IBM and the Nature Conservancy India. Okay. So coming back to a couple of other use cases in terms of how today IBM is also helping not only for various industries, but even in the sports field, right? Today, Wimbledon probably has got the Gen AI aspect inbuilt. For all the users, they can actually get the players' information upfront on their devices to know the complete profile of the player, how his run rate is, how he is actually going to perform, all those predictions, probably is kind of helping to know your player better and probably, have more fun, right? So also the auto commentary is on, basically auto commentary by the AI is actually also working, and all the recording what the Wimbledon thing records it, the AI actually summarizes for you. The Gen AI actually summarizes so that the entire sport, if you would have sat and watched the entire day, it will probably summarize it for you in probably 15 minutes, right? The quick summary with quick insights and snapshots, everything. So that's the power of AI today that it actually taking on. So I would also recommend you people to go ahead and sign in for some of the challenges through IBM Skillsbuild. If you actually register the IBM Skillsbuild and complete couple of badges on your the courses that you love to take, you also stand a chance to win. Lucky folks will also win ticket 2 tickets for Wimbledon, right? So I mean, yes, visa is definitely needed, but this is something it's open for all the students today from IBM Skillsbuild. So take a look at this. It's very interesting. So I actually put some slides today, just like a talking points, and to answer some of the questions I just received from Arundhati today, in terms of what are the typical challenges we face in industry, right? Because there are many use cases that we might be implementing. And as I highlighted, getting it right is very important. What to get right? As I said, the problem statement, the impact of the problem for the people today, how how it is actually helping, the technology is helping to solve that problem. What is the benefit it is going to give it to the user, to the system, how it is going to help, and what kind of data you needed to solve that problem, right? All these things is very important, and this itself has become the challenge in the industry because many people probably misinterpret, give the wrong data set, apply the wrong technology, and probably they'll end up in the results that are not that great, right? So hence these are the typical 3 challenges today many industries are facing, right? So it's very, very important for us to, no matter how big small the problem statement is, you need to be very, very conscious, just like how we write our exams. You're all students, and we also keep kind of taking the quizzes and all. So it's very important for you to first understand the problem statement, spend time to analyze what formula you have to apply. And even if you know the right formula, you know how you have to replace the data variables more accurately so that you get the end results appropriately. Otherwise, you know that you are going to lose entire your 5 marks for that question, right? Because no matter your formula was right, but you'd have made some small misrepresentation of the data there, then whole of thing goes for a toss. The similar analogy you can think about how organizations, if they make a wrong decision at one of the step, then probably they might get kind of not so intended results, right? And what I wanted to highlight is people like a lot of things, especially on AI, Gen AI. They want to become prompt engineers. So when I say prompt engineers, this is a very, very, very evolving field, and many people are making, especially the Gen X, Gen AI, Gen Z generations, right? When I say the students who have passed out this year and last year, they have been actually joining as a prompt engineers, and they have picked up this niche skill of creatively working on the prompts, working on the formats of the questions, to various organizations, right? How better they can actually make it much more interesting for the end responses. So that's one aspect of it when you think about, you have to ensure that you're not limiting yourself just for specific technology, or be open for you to learn. Spend some time exploring, because you will come to know what you may have to invest your time, right? Because you will sometimes, it may happen that you would have studied something, and then you might be interested to work on something, but initially you may not get exactly the same thing to work upon, right? But do not actually live away the passion that you have, right? Parallelly, you keep on continuing reading and learning on what you like it, right? You never know, you'll get an opportunity to kind of work on what you like also. Because just working is different, and being passionate about something and learning and then developing interesting applications, that's completely a different one, right? So you need to keep those two things separately, and wherever it converges, then you will be much more powerful and effective, right? So be very mindful about the which domain area that you might be solving that problem for. So spend some time in understanding that domain area. It can be financial sector, agriculture sector, chemical industry, medical field. Spend some time to understand that industry aspects of it, so that you can be much more effective. So this, take it like a recommendation from my side. This is not just for current your curriculum what I'm mentioning, but probably soon after next 6 months or next 1 year, you guys will be able to relate to what I'm kind of talking here, right? So while you actually pick up some simple AI ML course and learning, right? Try to build a small prototype or a small example out of it, with a problem statement in mind, and apply the various algorithms, and play around and see, so that you know that how the practical experience would help you guys, right? So some of the aspects typically you have to also think about in mind is, whenever you're working in a company or you're doing a college projects, choose the data so that you're not misusing the data. You are not misusing any personal data of anybody else in terms of the name, all the personal information. Sometimes connecting information also can be very personal for somebody, right? Like, so you should be very, very mindful about following those ethics in terms of what data you would use for your applications. Ensure you use all the public data available more responsibly. And that is where there is a difference between today the OpenAI, the ChatGPT, what it gives, versus the enterprise-wide applications like watsonx from IBM. How today we use only enterprise-specific data, which are recommended by the customers and recommended by the IBM only, right? So that we know what data we have used, and we are responsible for every response we give out from our machine learning models as a response, because we are working on the genuine data and very authentic data, right? So be mindful of that as well. Otherwise, like so many concerns and claims had been made against very famous organizations just because of the data issues, right? So hence, it's very important for you to, spend time in terms of understanding these pillars of trust in the field of area to build a powerful and meaningful applications. So my recommendation going forward for you, all of you, is this could be, these are all your, next step places, but you can actually try your hands-on, probably open your all GitHub. There might be some open source GitHub projects. Visit Kaggle or Hackerong. Go ahead and explore those, applications, so that, there are a lot of samples there. There are a lot of sample data sets for you to actually get more hands-on. So this is more for to get hands-on, but something for the learning purpose, you can always reach out to IBM Skillsbuild, Coursera, Udemy, right? Anything, any material on the internet, all those things, and books, definitely, right? So there's no actually one-stop shop for any specific subject or a course. You have many sources that you can look forward for it. And these are all the tools and technologies, techniques that typically you can actually explore in the market, for you to work on not only AI applications, but also for the analytics applications, for Java application, Python, anything that you want to build the insights on the, the Power BI dashboards, Tableau dashboards. So all these are like technologies comes handy for you guys. So you might be already working on some programming languages. You might be working with some databases, right? Oracle, SQL, many more, databases. So go ahead and explore. And yes, even today, AI and data skills is very important. Still, we need many folks to get onboarded. So it is not that it is too much or too less, but it's good to pick up those skills. But you don't need to completely limit yourself only to AI and ML. There is a scope for AI and ML even as a secondary skill, in no matter whatever the primary skill that you would be excelling in, right? So you can accordingly pick your passion, the opportunity. So basically, opportunity and passion should probably, it has to be like, two parallel threads, sometimes it can converge and sometimes it may not converge, right? So it's better for you to be aware and then pick up right opportunities at a right time. So I've kind of listed few of the references. I can also share it with Arundhati for you guys to share it. All these things for folks who are very, very, wants to actually work on AI, machine learning models, want to get into deep aspects on Python, statistics, solving regression problems. They can actually go ahead and look into all of these. And some of the resources today I was talking from IBM in terms of watsonx, in terms of the environmental specific, APIs. You want to play around to build more for good tech, right? You can use it, and you can definitely use the IBM Skillsbuild extensively. And again, use all the resources judicially, sustainably, and make a conscious choice in every action that you probably, think about it. So probably I tried to summarize and cover all that, I received as a questions, and I tried to answer some of your questions while I was talking on the slides. we cannot probably get deep dive on specific topics in this 2 hours call because of um, the various categories of the students on this call coming from different backgrounds, right? So I have to keep it little generic, and so that it's easily you people are able to catch up and then take it from here, right? Take it from here to probably go deep on your individual interests, because some of the AI applications today, right? Like if you are on some learning site, based on your profile that you would have created, your interest that you would have created, the AI engine behind that, it will recommend another set of courses that you, based on your interest and your capability, it will suggest you, right? So what a good way for you to even, be part of that journey in terms of where, AI is recommending for you to, try that particular course. Just like on e-commerce site, it will say that, hey, you purchased this particular dress, now why don't you buy this, spectacular goggles? It is going to very well match with your dress, right? So that kind of recommendations also you have seen as an end user on your shopping sites and so on. So all the other examples that you have been, definitely you have been part of it, the Siri, autonomous vehicles, the fraud detections, all that, right? Probably all those things probably you would have heard in many forums and many of those things. I didn't want to iterate the same things what you would have heard before. I just wanted to share based on my experience and based on what, at IBM, how we have been helping, certain industries that, you people can think that, okay, whatever you have been learning is just, how do you see the practical usage of it, right? That was my attempt to show that, all these areas, you can think that today, organizations are working forward in making an impact, right? So with that, what the IBM Skillsbuild has actually offered you is they are asking you to scan this so that it marks your attendance for this, and you will be also getting a certificate for this course that you have attended. That way it marks your attendance, and you also get the e-certificates. And Arundhati, maybe you can add to it and
Yes.
also probably take some more questions.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Mamta. Thank you so much for such an insightful session. We really enjoyed like how you kind of linked the AI technology to sustainability, and reiterating the fact that sustainability is nothing independent. Everything is kind of inextricably woven into one another, and especially something like sustainability. So I personally enjoyed that bit, and how you have mentioned that AI is involved in every aspect of our life, just except for the food we eat. It is actually managing each and every decision knowingly and unknowingly. Okay, so I would also appreciate the participants if you can scan the QR code, and you can get the certificate in this manner. It's very much clear from this deck, right? So this is the way you can get this certificate. In addition to this, we will be opening the platform for some question answer round. So please feel free to drop your questions on the chat box. In the meantime, Mamta, we can also discuss some of the questions that we have received from the Google form responses today morning.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So one question is, what are the hard skills and the soft skills that a person can grow in this AI ML sector? And in order to link the first question, how can a beginner start their career in AI?
So as I just shared, there were some references, right?
Yes.
I did share it in
Giggles.
some of my few slides. So these are all like, few of the references, somebody to get started, the plethora of tools and technologies. So these are like hard skills. I'm not talking about soft skills, but if you think about soft skills, then think about soft skills here, right? The domain aspects, understanding of the data, the creativity, and consciously being making that decision, right? So these are all like soft skills, the data skills, the analytic skills, that you kind of come along like a mixed skills, right? So while you pick up, because by birth every individual will have some level of capabilities in terms of those analytical skills, right, which you probably would have experienced right now through your interviews and writing tests and AI based tests and all that, right? So analytical skills is what very, very critical for somebody who is actually working on going to work on AI and ML, right? And your mathematical skills, the mean and the integration, differentiation, all that aspects is actually going to be very, very helpful when you get into the ML aspects of it, right? And the soft skills definitely is the good data understanding. You need to definitely have that creativity, right? When I say creativity, yes, you can enhance your creativity always by probably listening to many, many use cases like this, exploring in the internet, right? And all these communities, sign up for these communities. You actually collaborate, you actually form a team. It is not just limiting to your own college or your own friend circle, but you can actually collaborate by joining the existing groups, right? Participate and so on. That would be probably the next best step once you have some basic fundamental knowledge for you to practically get involved, right? And start, whether you fail or you may not be successful, but start coding, coding, trying, and then getting that sense of that, just like a program, right? And I'm sure every engineer, you guys definitely have those labs, and you would have seen that practicality is also one aspect where you will be assessed, right? Like something practically you will apply. So in the same way, these forums is actually going to help you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mamta. One reflective question I would say that came from one of the participants is, what is the end of AI? Is there any end, or what is the future of AI? In any way, if you would like to address this question.
So future of AI, definitely futuristic, very positive. As I said, we don't need to be very, very scared, but a conscious use is very, very needed. Where to apply, when to apply, why to apply, right? All these questions has to be asked, not only by you, but even us, right? Every day we make a conscious decision. Do we really need Gen AI, right? Because I'll tell you, the Gen AI today takes a lot of computation power today, right? And so that computation power, in turn, we are using a lot of electricity, lot of capacity of the data store, right? And end of the day, anything you overuse, what happens? It'll end up carbon emissions and causing harm, right? Both in terms of the capacity, in terms of the resources, in terms of the cost, and end of the day, causing harm to the nature, right? So it's very important for you to not overfit anything, but you need to also have an awareness, right? When to use just the plain traditional AI, when to use for Gen AI, and probably somebody, okay, because I might be addressing always folks who might be interested in AI and ML. So there are a lot many other opportunities, technologies today for people who don't want to really be part of the AI ML journey. But always my mantra is, no matter whether you're interested to work or not, but you should need to be aware of it, right? Because today, you just like an example, whether people can afford to buy smartphones or not, whether they'll buy the second-hand smartphones, but you can see even the uneducated and even the poor people, right? I mean, sorry to say this, but how effectively they're using, right? That's the beauty of it, right? So try to look at the positivity that, it actually brings, right? Connecting the people. So many ads came up even in LinkedIn and on the television and media, how technology connects the people, very, very emotional ones, right? So think about the technology, how good it is actually doing the mankind. But at the same time, we should be very, very conscious about how it can also cause damage, right? That's why we keep on cautioning. Even our even I have a son who is going to college, so I keep on telling, like, number of screen hours you have to reduce, use it only when really needed. You are anyway going to college, you're anyway studying, lot of materials teachers have given, but why are you always in front of YouTube, right? So I keep telling that, right? So that's what you need to be very conscious about, how much to use, right? In terms of everything, so basically technology also. So make that conscious decision. I mean, that was just a small comparison, but I wanted to say, AI is very, very futuristic. Definitely, I can't say that AI is not going to end. AI is like a monster. It is becoming much more intelligence, like just like a Matrix, right? Anytime you go and watch the old Matrix, the first version of it, oh my God, it like thinks like what's going to happen to the world, right? So yeah, you never know, how the technology is going to take us. So definitely there is a lifetime for every technology. Gen AI can probably become Gen AI plus plus in next 2 years. uh, but all for good, right? All for good only. And at the same time, you also think, right, how much of automation it has helped. Today, um, very, very, very few people probably today might be reading the newspaper all the 10 pages. The matter of fact is, people now need the speed, right? So think about it, Gen AI for the newspaper, right? So it will give you all the highlights in tick, tick, tick in just few clicks on your mobile, right? So that's the strategy, and that the way people are looking at, right? So maybe it's a question back to you, right? How do you want to see it? So first of all, my question to you guys, one of the skill that I'm going to again ask all of you guys is the patience, right? Do you guys really are making that strong effort in growing your patience? I mean, including myself, right? A question to myself, how much patience I am going to sustain, right? And the same question for you also, for my son also, right? To everybody, like, patience, listening. I think these two are very, very powerful and very, very much needed, because this is what is going to give you that, what to say, emotional intelligence, the empathy,
Edge. Yes.
empathy
Yes.
piece of it, right? If you're not empathetic, I don't think so you will be able to do any justice for the course that you're taking, the session that you're attending, or probably the innovation that you might be doing, right? I would definitely say all these things has to be continuously groomed. I cannot say that, yes, I have achieved it, I have a badge, I'm done, right? No. Every day I need to polish all my skills at home, at my friend circle, at my professional circle.
Thank you. Thank you, Mamta, for beautifully answering the question. And yes, it's true. It's also, you've beautifully explained the value chain, that you can trace back the coffee farmers and directly pay them. And you can take the help of AI. So
Yes.
with that, yes, yes, yes. And that actually, like, tells that AI is not actually a threat. It is how you look at it. It's
Correct.
already, yes, already
That's
you
right.
mentioned.
So that's why I think that empathy is also very much needed, because I think you, the next generation, probably, think of all these innovations or ideas for your existing business requirements, right? Like, come up with this niche areas, even for your college projects also, right? Like that you might be doing an internship or call for code. Try to make the world better around you first, then the next step.
Right. Adding on to what Mamta just said, please take a note of today's session, and she has beautifully captured the sustainability aspect and how you can incorporate it in the in your project, in your AI ML project. So please keep that in mind while you are creating your team project. Okay. Another question is, somebody has asked how the companies train their large scale data. Like, what do they use as a framework for training that level of data?
So at IBM, today we have a series of models. IBM has released the Granite models, and then they've even made it open source. And they're also using the model from Hugging Face also. I mean, purely in the LLM context, right? Gen AI context. And all this data today, IBM has sanitized it, actually procured from the public sites, which are very, very authentic to train our models. And some of the data has been even collected from its authentic customers, right, based on their consent. So I cannot restrict that, this data, the training has happened on one set of data set or two set of data sets from this source ABC. There are multiple data sources, and that's why we call that data, the training, the way it has happened is based on the enterprise grade data, right, which is more trustable. And we are basically responsible. IBM stands responsible for the responses that you would get from these models when you actually implement and use it. Hope that answers it. It might be too early for you to connect all the dots, whoever asked it, but this is how today IBM is doing, and not just IBM. Any enterprises like Amazon, Google, Azure, right? They also have those LLMs, and probably that this is the principle they are using it.
Okay, thank you once again, Mamta. We would take last 1 to 2 questions before we close the session. I would request all the participants to please put it in the chat box if you have any interesting questions you would like the speaker to talk about. With this, I would ask you another question. Is there any alternative that can replace artificial intelligence and machine learning? Again, a very self-reflective kind of a question.
So when I say, replace, so replace might be a, little strong word, probably complement, right? That is how we all have to look at it. So basically, how else any other technology can complement? Like I said, IoT devices or the blockchain, right? IoT devices can actually collect the data for you and then give it to your machine learning models, right? So I'm not purely replacing, neither I'm giving, a complete garlanding or complete score for AI ML, but equally there is a so much of responsibility, so much of insights, the data responsibility of collecting the data is coming from the IoT sensors data, right? There is a technology that gets applied at the edge. And similarly, the blockchain, blockchain gives you the complete transparency in terms of how it tracks the data, right? Right from the source, like in the example of the coffee beans, probably, right? So there is a complete transparency that, it gives you right from the farmer to the end customer, right? The complete transparency it has given you. So it's probably an amalgamation of the technologies which is actually going to be very, very successful, right? So neither one is going to replace completely other. Just like probably how C or a OOPS, right? The object-oriented concepts, what we started, it evolved to C and then C++, and then probably many applications today still are working on C++ because they are meant to work superbly on that, right? Not every application we can do it in C I mean, sorry, in Python or just Java, right? But Java, there are very niche applications today, Java applications only can do, right? So there are certain, applications which are very, very powerful in for a specific technology, just like how we, when we perform as a team, or think about like a, five fingers in our hand, how we complement each other, right? The teamwork. I would probably give that analogy. That probably AI alone probably cannot do everything, but AI, when it works along with other technologies, it can do wonders.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I also believe that collaboration is better than competition. We are all collaborating.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. 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 With that, our next question from Jitendra Bharti: Is Neuralink possible with AI?
Neuralink possible with AI. Any more add-ons for that?
No, he's just asked me this in the chat box. Is Neuralink possible with AI? Another question is like, ask any cybersecurity related questions.
Yes, that is possible.
Okay. 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 I think that's kind of sums it up for today's session. Okay, like synchronization. So Jitendra has mentioned like synchronization of AI with human brain. Is that possible? So adding on to what he just asked.
So basically, I think there was a question previously, right? Neuralink. So I think Neuralink, what it immediately comes to me is about the chip that, typically we are actually relating it to our chip is nothing but like, I whenever I think about a chip in a microprocessor or in any of the electronic instrument, I immediately think like my brain circuit, right? That will be the best way to kind of think about. And basically the deep learning and all the the brain knows the way it is connected exactly is way today our social network also works, right? And friend of friends and friend of friends, all that networking it builds. And similarly, that is how even the covid tracking also were built on the same examples, right? If you know how we started finding the hotspots, probably somebody landed in airport and this person probably got in contact with this relatives, this friends, think about like, right, chain networks and things like that. So basically what I'm saying is AI has evolved from humans only, right? So humans observe patterns, and based on the patterns, humans are actually developing applications. So all the applications today around us is nothing but our lifestyle. It may not be wrong, right? If I say that, today we are actually technically making it possible and giving the name like automation, AI and everything, but it is nothing but, we are making our lifestyle better. And the mastermind behind this is completely our brain. And that is what we are trying to mimic when we think that, okay, this is how I want to make my machine work, right? You want to make your algorithm, your program work like how humans can think. And many movies have also shown it that machines have now started learning the emotions. Even in the malls today, people are actually demonstrating through those robots. Even they put a beautiful attire of a sari or a skirt or whatever, or even they have a beautiful leader's dress, put it on the robot, and they're so smartly answering everything to the point, to the context, with emotions. They laugh when you laugh, right? Like, so how is it possible? It's all simulation, right? They are able to capture the emotions, your feature movements, the way you're laughing. The camera captures everything, and it is getting, so the speed, the automation, insights, everything is a combination of the technologies here, and it is actually making you feel that, okay, robots are now able to even exhibit the emotions, right? But it's purely a technology play, guys. right? So the speed in which it gives, it makes us believe that, yes, it's emotion coming out from the robots, right? So with that, probably I can say that, yes, everything is basically based on our neuroscience. Even our ML is purely based on working like humans. And yeah, a great competition. Machines can, basically with all this technology, reinforcement learning, the ability to quickly learn, relearn, unlearn, all this is probably working like a miracles. But yes, definitely it is not going to replace humans anytime.
Thank you. Thank you for so patiently making us understand, what in depth and in a very simple manner. So another question, and I think we will close the question answer round with this one. Okay, so the final question to you is, Mamta, how to connect AI ML with technology such as IoT, quantum computing, etc. I think part of it you have already covered. If you'd like to answer this.
So AI with quantum computing is again, it's another technology, right? So quantum, when do you apply quantum? So today, whenever there is a massive, storage is needed, massive processing is needed for, minor details of it, right? So there is quantum AI is getting very popular, in coming years, basically. Probably I can say that is another trend, right? Another trend that is actually getting, a lot of traction. And IBM is also investing a lot in the research field on quantum computers. We were one of the, first, I think, to probably evolve in this quantum journey, right? And today, when I say quantum AI, we are actually thinking about how we can actually focus more on energy efficient AI algorithms by using these quantum computers, right? That is one classic example I can say. And as I was telling, right, we are actually using a lot of storage for our storage and computing power, right? I'm trying to link here that how the quantum computation actually is going to help you to make more sustainable storage and sustainable processing much more better in terms of the GPUs, CPUs, and NPUs are evolving, right? So all that is actually trending and, going to probably again, AI and quantum is going to be another bundle of complementary package, I would say.
Okay. All right, then. So with this, we will close the question answer round. Thank you once again, Mamta. Thank you so much for walking us through this insightful session. I would request all the participants. I believe we have already scanned the QR code. We have also put it on the chat box. You can also scan it from here. The process is pretty simple. Please scan the QR code. The rest is self-explanatory. You can also check the chat box for the process. You can check with your teammates. You can get the certificate on spot from IBM Skillsbuild. Okay. Okay, then once again, I would like to thank you all for attending this session. Thank you all for those ones who have already submitted the second batch course that is on AI fundamentals. Great that you could do it before the deadline. We have extended the deadline and you can submit the second deliverable, that is the AI fundamentals batch course, on 30th of June by end of the day. For the team project, please note that we have extended the deadline and you can submit on 2nd of July. Okay. All right. With this, we would close the session for today. Thank you once again for joining the masterclass. We would meet shortly. Thank you, Mamta. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, and hope the session was helpful. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Please do share the PPT with us. We will definitely put it in the communication with our participants, because many of them have asked me in the group, in the chat box, regarding this presentation.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, CSR Box, for the opportunity.
Thank you.